Okay, we're ready. Good afternoon, Mr. Wexler. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. How are you?
Good. Sir, I'd like to direct your attention to the tardiness policy that exists at HUDs. How did that policy come about, sir?
The policy came about after I arrived at HUD and noticed that there was a problem with employees taking advantage of the prior system for flexible schedules and tardiness.
And how did you said you noticed the problem. What was the prior policy, sir?
The prior policy was effectively that employees who were late were required to make up the time as soon as they were able to do so, but it was not recorded in any central location, so there was opportunities for, and in fact there was abuse because employees were not making up that time.
So would you describe that prior policy as an honor-based system, in essence?
It was absolutely an honor-based system, and it was unfortunate that some of the employees seemed to be ruining it for others, which led to the more formalized policy that we have in place today.
Now, you said there was an impact on the organization. Was this just based on your 10 years of human resources work and experience, or did you come up with a numerical estimate as to how much the company was losing?
I actually commissioned an officer of the company to make a financial projection and try to determine the cost to the company.
And the commission that you saw, the report, did it come out with a firm figure, a dollar amount as to how much was being lost per year?
It did. The report suggested that the company was losing $200,000 a year approximately over the course of 5 years, amounting to approximately $1 million.
And so over the next 5 years, there would be a $1 million loss, is what you discovered based on the report that you saw?
That's exactly right.
And so did you, based on this this estimated loss, this significant loss that you projected, did you, on your own accord, institute a new policy?
No, certainly not. I took this information to Homer Pickett and his daughter Juliet, and we discussed how to address the problem together.
And so did you suggest a formalized policy then, and did they just approve it, or was it a give and take with the owner and the vice president?
Well, the Picketts were very concerned about maintaining this tradition of flexibility, which I quite understand has been an important hallmark of the way the HUD interacts with its employees. So that was an indispensable quality for any policy that we developed. So I sort of took my human resources background and tried to put something together, and then we all collaborated on polishing it.
And so that's what, after those efforts, you came out with the written policy as it exists today?
That's right. We reached a written policy, and Mr. Pickett and Juliet Pickett approved it, and it went into effect.
Now, this policy, is it does it have a limited number of times that you can show up late? I mean, in fact, let me take a step back. What does the policy require employees to do?
The touchstone of the policy is that employees are required to notify the union steward of their absences and tardinesses. And then the policy is effectively the same as the old one, where they have to make up that time, although now it's just a little bit more formalized in terms of the scope, who they tell, and when they make it up.
So
there's absolutely no limit to the number of times that folks are allowed to come in late.
and this was a primary concern for Mr. Pickett that the employees maintain the flexibility they had prior to formalization.
Absolutely, Mr. Pickett and his daughter have been wonderful to their employees, and under this policy, they continue to be wonderful.
And so, how many before an employee is terminated? How many violations must an employee have?
Well, actually, it depends, because the way the system works is that the employee must have 4 violations within a 6-month period. So theoretically, you could have an employee who violates 3 times each 6-month period and continues doing that. It's a very fluid process. The purpose is not to be punitive. It is only to address serious repeat problems.
Is the policy, when applied to employees, is there a pecking order, or is there a lot of discretion on who gets disciplined and who doesn't, or is there uniform application across the employee pool?
No, absolutely the latter. My experience in human resources has taught me that it's important to be uniform in the application of these sorts of policies, and that goes for the most senior employee down to the most junior. Everyone is treated exactly the same under this new policy.
Are the disciplinary measures taken, because you talked about 4 violations occurring, and the fact that somebody could actually violate on the 7th month and it wouldn't be their 4th, and so you could keep going. Is it a one size fits all for offenses, or is it a graduated? How would you describe the manner in which discipline is given to an employee?
Well, it's aggressive, and the aim is to, again, not to discipline and be punitive, but to address problems before they arise to the point where termination would be necessary. So, after the first violation, the employee is given a notice of violation. After the second violation, the employee is given another notice, and actually I meet with the employee at that point. If there's a third violation, then the employee is suspended and given another violation and another opportunity to correct the behavior. And only after the 4th violation is there any termination.
And in fact, you discussed there's a meeting in there, correct, with the employee after violation number 2?
That's correct, and I met with Ms. Brzezinski after her second violation. That's the uniform policy.
And the purpose of that meeting is it to educate the employee, or what is the purpose?
The purpose is to make sure that the employee understands exactly what the problem is, and then to address any concerns that the employee has. Again, the purpose here is not to be punitive, but to make sure that everyone is getting work done, and so that there's no unfairness. So I sit down with the employee, we go through the policy, we go through the nature of the violation, and at the end, the employee is given an opportunity to ask any questions that he or she has, and is asked to sign to indicate that they understand exactly what's going on.
And the suspension you discussed, which occurs only after a 3rd violation, that's a discretionary period, correct? It's upwards of 30 days, but it doesn't have to be 30 days, correct?
That's correct. And again, the purpose here is to continue to make sure that employees understand what's going on and the consequences of violating the policy, which should be clear from the beginning, but we just want to make sure that no one is being disciplined improperly.
Now, the purpose, we hit on this earlier, but the purpose of this policy, as you noted, it wasn't punitive. Is it linked to, let me rephrase, the monetary impact to PUDs that exist from tardiness and missing days of work, does that have a direct effect on the employees?
Absolutely. The employees have a collective bargaining agreement which calls for revenue sharing, and so they are directly
And what is the percentage under the CBA, the collective bargaining agreement, that the employees share in the profits?
The collective bargaining calls for 20%. So over this 5-year period that we projected, the employee's direct loss would be $200,000 without the new policy.
And those $200 would be monies going directly back to each and every employee of PUDS, correct?
Going into each and every employee's pockets or without the policy coming directly out of their pockets.
Thank you, sir. Now, we're going to switch gears and we're going to, I would like to ask you some questions on how you announce the policy to the employees. And we'll stop here. Thanks.
Okay.